This week on Supercars Talk, we've got crashes, unsafe re-entries and Bathurst wildcards to announce. The big news this week, the Murphy Stanaway Bathurst wildcard has been confirmed to be happening finally this year. It was a bit of a shame not to see it last year stack up against that other wildcard that happened. I'm not holding my breath on results on this one. Like last year, I suppose you've got a similar kind of, young up-and-comer and, a guy that was retired. But yeah, Richie's been out of the seat for a couple of years, so he's not going to stack up quite like Feeney did. They're also not in a Triple Eight car. I expect Murphy to probably do very similar to what Russell Ingall had done. Similar amount of time out of the seat and that. Both probably as good as each other on their day. But yeah, not holding my breath on this one. I can't see any top 10s from them like we saw last year from the Super Jeep car. The other news this week was a couple of new sponsors. Scott Pye will have Newlawn on the car for the next 7 rounds. That's up to Bathurst. There will be a new sponsor on the car for Bathurst onwards, the big events at the end of the year really, and James Courtney sliding into his retirement there with Snowy River Caravans on the car. Yeah, I've followed or been stuck behind a lot of caravans in my lifetime. I don't recall any of them being a Snow River one, but yeah, I'll keep an eye out for them. Both cars actually looked pretty good. Obviously, the Team 18 just continuing on with that, base livery that they've had all year for that car, which, looks good. So no questions there. And yeah, the Snow River kind of copy of the Optus colour scheme on Chas Mostert's car, which I'm kind of growing on me. I thought that one looked pretty good as well. On to the racing for the weekend. Now, there is a lot to cover, so I'm not going to give a blow-by-blow. I'm just going to focus on the main incidents and give my opinion. First things first, Max Payne, Super 2. Finally got a win in there. Finally, he's only done, 3 rounds. But he's looked a bit shaky in what he's done before. Then had the win in race 1, followed Tyler Everingham home in race 2. But yeah, he really started to this weekend. He started to look like he knows what he's doing. Started to look a lot like what Brock Feeney was doing last year. And yeah, that I think he's in the championship lead now. That he'll have that kind of push on and go on and win the championship and, could potentially be in a supercar seat, earn his super license for Bathurst and be, in the main game next year. On that also, Zach Best, the championship leader, as we were told many times heading into this weekend, just turned in on Page's Super 3 car, just like he wasn't there. Just total rookie error. It just was not a good weekend for Zach Best. That's why I wasn't getting carried away with the form guide that we had going into this weekend, because you couldn't really get a form guide with, one wet weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park. On shocking weekends as well, Nash Morris culminating in trying to fit his Falcon into a Yaris-sized hole on the first lap of that second race, and we have liftoff. Yeah, Falcons don't like, doing the high jump, obviously. So, yeah, a shocking weekend there. A couple of those guys getting beaten by Super 3 guys as well, blowing up on the radio about it. Yeah, if you don't like it, drive faster. Now, on to the big boys and the big boy issues. First up, Randle versus Holdsworth. So, yeah, Lee just kind of turned in like Randle wasn't there. Interesting one, that one. No point in arguing it though, because, they were all, kiss and cuddle and whatever afterwards, and we love each other, and it's all Jack LeBrocq's fault. I don't get somehow that one was Jack LeBrocq's fault. Now, for the incident that Jack LeBrocq was actually involved in. Jack LeBrocq versus Scott Pye, no matter what Scafey says, there was overlap, which you can quite clearly see from what unfolded with the incident there. He just kept coming across. To say that he didn't know he was there, well, you were going to block, you know, the line, so you knew he was there. You kept coming across. You would have felt that initial bump, I would have thought. So that's when you feel the bump there, that's at that point where you stop coming across. He just kept coming across. Yes, you know, Jack did send him into the wall, and he basically admitted that when they had an interview with him afterwards and said, you know, what happened, and he said, well, if I lifted off, everyone would expect me to lift off every time they, you know, try to drive me off the track. So yeah, he sent him. But yeah, Pye shouldn't have been doing that. I do feel sorry for, you know, Scotty Pye and Charlie. They've got no sponsor for the car. It's going to cost Charlie a lot of money to fix the car. But you can't block like that on the first lap and, you know, not expect something like this to potentially happen. So you've put yourself in that position. You know you haven't got the money to fix the car or whatever. Why put yourself in that risky position? There was another incident in that same race. I mean, this happens all the time, but there was Slade versus Pither. Slade came across and, you know, left a car width there for Pither and nobody died. So, you know, that's how it normally happens. Pretty simple. Yeah, Scott Pye at fault for this one. Davison versus Waters. The big thing here, I suppose, Davo did dive bomb him, give him a nudge, and then he ran right to the outside of the track. So really, where was Waters supposed to go? Davo, yeah, he pushed him off the track. Was it an unsafe re-entry? It happened multiple times over the weekend and no one else got punished for it. So why did Cam get punished for it? Great to see Davo get his first win in forever, but it felt hollow. Even in the interviews and that, it was a bit, you know, what was it really a win? I mean, Cam shouldn't have been punished for it. I would have much preferred, you know, for Davo to get stuck in and have another crack and get past and get the win that way. But the big thing here, what the hell was Davo doing dive bombing him? He's really taken his big boy pills this year, and he's really getting stuck in. 2 thumbs up for that, because it's great to see, especially on Cam Waters, who is, you know, someone who does race pretty hard in the category. And the final incident to cover, Kostecki versus Kostecki. It was Kostecki's fault. My final thoughts for the weekend. Can anyone stop Shane Van Gisbergen? Even in race 3, he thought Courtney still had to stop, and then they got on the radio and said, oh no, Courtney's actually in that position, which, you know, it shows you what Shane thinks of James Courtney at the moment, because he just figured, how could this guy be in front of me? But it was just like, you know, Fast and Furious hit the nose button and off he went and just mowed him down and, you know, took off. So, it was basically like, you know, Courtney's already retired and got his TCR gig and he's just cruising around in his Hyundai or whatever they drive in TCR. And Shane came past in a V8 supercar. Just absolutely ridiculous. Reynolds Grove Racing, they're knocking on the door there. They were just off the podium all weekend. You have to sit there and wonder, where would they be if Jaime hadn't left and he was still in the team, because he was, you know, pretty much right with Reynolds or ahead of him most of last year, or if Rick Kelly had hung around for a couple more years. You just wonder where that whole team might be right now if they had, you know, 2 top-line drivers rather than, you know, Dave Reynolds and a co-driver in the car. Walkinshaw Andretti United over the weekend. What the hell happened? Their best qualifying position was 21st. Best race result of 12th. This is Chaz, he nearly took out the Albert Park win overall. I can't think of a team that had kind of fallen like that so quickly, but, you know, have the whole weekend where they're just nowhere. Because people will point, you know, Kelly Grove last year, Jaime won at the Bend, and then they qualified in the last row at Darwin, but that was exceptional circumstances. They'd messed up that qualifying session or whatever. The rest of the weekend didn't go like that. Like, they were just absolutely nowhere, just totally, you know, they're making Jack Smith look good all weekend. So having said that, you know, Jack Smith isn't always the worst. And my final thought is, yeah, I'm still a child. The fireworks looked really cool at the end of the night race. So that's my Wannaroo race review. Down in the comments, let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree with my opinions? And have you enjoyed this, you know, I suppose a bit more faster paced review of the weekend, rather than having a bit of a blow, just focusing on the, you know, the big incidents and trying to make the video a little bit shorter. Don't forget Backseat Drivers on Thursday night, the live stream with me and Matt, mainly talking about Formula One, and probably have a bit of IndyCar talk for this weekend. Check out, there is a new channel. I will be live streaming it on this channel as well. I'll put a link in the description to the Backseat Drivers channel as well, though. Yeah, so until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.